Mary Allen, Roslyn Harris, and Phyllis DePoe are three senior ladies whose lives are rich with experiences. They have all stayed active and engaged well into their retirement. Let's first join Roslyn as she reminds us not to be fooled by gray hair.
Mary and I have been asked to answer some questions. And the first one is, how do you see the aging process? I think the problem is you don't see the aging process, right? It just happens day by day, and before you know it, you're having your 75th birthday.
I never realized I was getting older. It was just too busy. And it just happened. All of a sudden, I'm 88 years old, and I don't know how, because I've been too busy.
Have you experienced major life changes, like health issues, death in the family, retirement, giving up driving? Yes, all of the above. You know, it's really not easy getting older, right? So I might look all right, and somebody will say, oh, come on over here, I want you to see something. Well, I have to think about how I'm going to get from here to over there, because it's far away as far as I'm concerned, and my legs aren't so good anymore. So everybody's got something that they're coping with. So when my dog died, and my partner died, my husband died, and I was already retired, but I had taken on some new jobs. But then, when I had to give up my car, that was the worst for me. What happened was there were so many negative things happening in my life that I got kind of nervous, and I was a nervous driver, and I had a few accidents. And then I couldn't get insurance anymore. I still had my driver's license. I couldn't get insurance. So I gave my car to my son. I had been driving since I was 16 years old. I rarely had used TTC, but I had to learn, and that's what I did. But what happens is that I'm not spontaneous anymore the way I used to be. I call, Toronto's a wonderful city, I have to say that. But I use Wheel-Trans quite a bit. But with Wheel-Trans, you have to know what time you're going and where exactly you're going to, and when they're going to be there to pick you up, and you don't know whether you're going to be ready or you'll still be at a meeting or whatever. So it's not so easy. One of the things I'd like to share with you is how I stay engaged and active. So I am speaking to seniors, and I had the opportunity and pleasure to speak to a group of seniors in Niagara Falls last weekend. And they happened to be, the topic of their symposium was age-friendly cities, and they were just starting out with age-friendly cities. And I was able to give them some pointers, like keep track of what's being done, and if something isn't getting done, you find the person you have to contact to get it done. So I do keep active, interacting with people as well, like Mary said. I'm also always learning. To me, if I stop learning, then there's no use to go on. I have to keep learning. So fortunately in Toronto, George Brown has a seniors association, and I take 1 or 2 courses each of the seasons. Like they have fall courses, winter courses, spring courses, and I've taken courses in film and in art and actually in literature too. So that's been quite wonderful. I'm very active in a group called the Periwinkle Project. Periwinkle, most of you must know that it's a little flower that grows here in Canada, But that's not the flower that it's named after. This group is an environmental group, and we started together a group of teachers because learning about the environment was just not done in the classrooms. Today it is, thank goodness, but it wasn't then. The periwinkle is a flower that is a little bit different from ours. It grows in Madagascar. And there was a doctor who was at our first symposium, and he told us about his daughter who had cancer, bone cancer in her legs. And I don't know what initiated him to use that periwinkle, but she recovered. So we just thought that was such a wonderful story, and that's why we call ourselves the Periwinkle Project. Way back when, we were a group of teachers, and we would hold a fair like this, and we would give ideas to teachers of all the different activities that they could do, like putting those little plants into pots and growing them. And it was really well received by teachers, and so it was a very successful project. We still meet today, but all of us are getting on in age, and we meet to reminisce, which is a wonderful activity, I think, for us, all of us. I also belong to the Duke Ellington Society. I'm sure you must know who Duke Ellington is, a brilliant composer. He's written work for dance, for theater, for opera. He's written ballets, and many songs. So that's just a joy in my life to meet with my others and meet with others like me and others who appreciate jazz. It's been a real joy.
The programs did not come from governments. It came from people advocating. That's why we all should. We have to help the government. We have to be advocates. We have to be there to make them accountable. It's a democracy. This is a democracy, Canada. The United Nations, do you realize we're people? That's so much we can do. I know we did the impossible. I was just a little learner, but from the beginning I realized I'm not a good leader, but I'm a damn good worker under a good leader. So choose your leader and go. So that's what I can tell. Choose your leader and keep on going. Forget the pain and forget all other things.
The objective of the ESL program at St. Augustine's was to provide seniors with some needed language skills in a safe and social environment. You know, we often think that learning has to be serious. Well, I believe that learning has to be fun as well as being serious. One of the things I've learned in life is if you don't have fun, forget it. So make sure no matter what you learn, and I was really surprised at how many people are learning new skills, going to programs, and it encourages me tremendously. So the language skills, having language skills can break down barriers that seniors face on a daily basis. If you don't have language skills, it's almost impossible to be independent or to travel anywhere if you can't read the bus number or street signs or directions or even ask the bus driver if you get into trouble. What do? Count the number of stops till you get to the subway, count the number of stops. It's quite impossible if you can't read. and I've also taught literacy to people who speak the language but can't read. So, try going shopping if you don't know the money values. What's a quarter? What's a loonie? What's a toonie? What's a dollar bill or $10 bill? So, what does this money represent? How do you buy groceries? How do you do anything if you don't know money? How do you make contact with community groups or social agency without English language skills? Ask yourself that. How do you go shopping for clothes or basic household items? How do you explain your aches and pains to a physician without having a translator? Boy, tell the doctor about what's my problem. Attending an ESL program through a seniors group is less like a regular school and more like a social event. However, at the same time, they are still acquiring some much needed language skills. And we had good fun doing it. First and foremost, as an EL instructor, I try to make learning useful while having a good time. You learn much more with positive reinforcement. My seniors appreciated every bit of support and human contact. I used to hug them as they came into class, into the program, and they were totally surprised. And I also hugged them when they left. I miss both my learners and their hugs. I try to sing and teach them the words to a few English songs, but their voices far excelled mine, and they responded with the songs of their own language. They couldn't stand my singing, and you wouldn't be able to either. The English language is an important tool and the gateway to Canadian culture. ESL classes give people a gateway into the mystery of what Canadian culture is to both recent or long-term immigrants. Most immigrant seniors have been too busy working, earning a living most of their lives, so they are generally not exposed to mainstream Canadian culture, and add the lack of language or language barriers to the mix, which leaves them marginalized, especially in retirement. English language skills can lessen this marginalization and isolation, and can make immigrant seniors feel they have a place in our society and still have a valuable role to play.